Okay, comes around every 2 years, and this is pursuant to Idaho Code as well as our own city ordinance. Councils, the way that the law is set up is councils are essentially prohibited from voting on their own pay raises. So but there's a recognition that council and mayor's elected official salaries need to be adjusted at some point. So the code requires that, or at least directs that, if the council is going to adjust salaries, that it has to do so within 1 year, and it will not take effect until January 1st of the following year. It's every other year when we have our municipal elections. So potentially at that time, there could be 3 new council members and a mayor, depending on the 4-year cycle. So that's what it's for. That's the directive of the code. Our ordinance indicates that the amount of adjustment will minimally be the amount of the cost of living adjustments or consumer price index adjustments that are granted to city staff. Those two in the past 2 years. Fortunately, the economy, as it's rebounding, the CPI has been minimal, 1.5% in calendar year 2013 and 1.6% in 2014, for a total of 3.1%. The ordinance that you see in your packet has those amounts, and it's in legislative form. You can see what the current authorization, approved authorization is, and what it would be in the future. Some council members have approached me and indicated, are you forced to do this? No, you're not. However, it is very easy to get out of sync with not that council salaries and the mayor's salaries are sufficient to feed a family. They're intended to help offset the costs of the inconvenience that you have for being on council. It's certainly, I've never had a council member run for council ever confide in me that they were doing it for the money. However, this is typically, councils have approved the statutory change and it is their personal decision whether they desire to take the increase or not. So that's up to the council members and the finance director personally. However, the ordinance is there before you, and it needs to be adjusted if the council is going to do so, not to take place or become effective until January 1st.
Dan?
We saw this at the administrative committee, and I can remember when I was first elected to council and this coming before us, and we had a pretty big turnover, I think, that time, and we're like, well, why would we want to do this? And I look at it now as, like Gary said, the code says we don't vote on our raises. I look at it as we're voting on the salary of the next council, basically. And that's how, because it's an every 2-year thing, and I know several people up here probably haven't taken the raise, and that's a personal thing, and everybody can do as they wish. I did want to ask in the whereases, those are the second and the third whereas show the current. It's kind of an in-between rate, because in your legislative portion, we've got the current rate at mayor 1890.18, and then the new effective rate at 1948.78, and then the first whereas it's at 1947, and then there's a similar difference in the between the next. They're falling in between the two.
Yeah, I think what we did was apply half of the amount. So I would ask the council to amend that by interlineation to reflect the legislative changes down below. The recitals will be changed to reflect those two amounts, yes.
The legislative changes?
Yeah.
I did check the math on the numbers below, and they correspond with the percentages.
The numbers below are the proper numbers?
Yeah.
In my math, I did not catch up above what you're talking about.
Right. And I noticed it last time, but I didn't think to bring it up because I didn't see the legislative part, but I wanted to make sure that we all saw that.
I think what that was,
I think,
folks, is it was 1.5 the first year and 1.2 the second year, and it was accumulative.
Yeah.
That's how I read it.
Apologize for that. Thanks for catching that.
so with that, I would make a motion that we approve the ordinance to make salary adjustments for the mayor and council effective January 1st, 2016, under suspension of the rules requiring 3 complete and separate readings, and to be read by title and published by summary.
Do you wish to add as amended?
As amended, yes.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion? Okay, we got a motion by Dan, a second by John to approve the ordinance making the salary adjustment for Mayor and City Council effective January 1, 2016, under the suspension of the rules requiring 3 complete and separate readings that be read by title and published by summary, and go with the bottom figure under section 8-2. John, I'll start the roll with you.
Aye.
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 Okay. I guess I better read this ordinance, 2015-08. Is that correct? Okay, ordinance 2015-08, an ordinance amending Title I, Chapter 8 of the Moscow City Code, providing for the increases in the salaries of city officers, providing that those provisions of this ordinance be deemed severable, and providing for the ordinance to be in full force and effect from the date of its passage, approval, and publication according to law.